I want to talk to you about one of the most brilliant ideas I've ever heard. This idea was thought up by my brother. His name is Jacob, and full credit goes to him for this idea, but I wanted to present it to you. I think it's really interesting and valuable. The ending of a movie tells us a lot about the worldview and the value system of a movie, and also answers two very important questions. First, what is worth fighting for? And second, what does happily ever after look like? In most movies, there's some kind of obstacle that the heroes need to overcome. Now, doing that is going to involve effort and sacrifice. It's going to involve hard work. So the question is, what is it that they're fighting for? What is it that's so worth it that they're willing to endure all the struggle that they go through, do all the things that they do, and sacrifice whatever's necessary to get? The second portion of the question is this. At the end of most movies, you're going to have some kind of conclusion with a happily ever after scene. So the question is, what does that happily ever after look like? What is kind of the ideal state of affairs portrayed by that movie? Think about it. When my brother originally thought up this idea, we were comparing two movies, Zootopia and Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings ends with the ascension of a king to his throne, a marriage of Aragorn and Arwen, and then the very last thing we see is Sam returning to his family. Interesting, huh? So you could back up and ask the question, okay, in Lord of the Rings, we have huge epic battles, we have heroes, we have swords, we have it all. What were they fighting for? Well, it turns out it looks like they were fighting for a peaceful family life. And it turns out that for Lord of the Rings, what happily ever after looks like is a peaceful family life. If you want a really interesting example of this, look directly at Sam Gamgee. Do you remember that speech he gives at the end of Two Towers, that really good one? What does he say? There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. Now compare that to his happy ending that he gets at Lord of the Rings, and you can see what Sam Gamgee was fighting for, and what he thought happily ever after looked like. So I would say that Sam Gamgee probably agrees with the Jacob Fisher theory of movie criticism. Now let's compare that with Zootopia. And I want to be clear, I'm not bagging on Zootopia here. I think it was a fun movie, I thought it was great. But let's just ask the question, what does Jacob Fisher's theory of movie endings say about it? Zootopia ends with the main characters in kind of some sort of indeterminate future relationship, and presumably with both of them pursuing career goals. Additionally, and this is kind of the interesting part, is it concludes with a dance party. So the question is, what in Zootopia were they fighting for? What was worth going through all the struggle? Well, a career and a dance party. Now, the Jacob Fisher theory of movie endings is applicable no matter what you think the ideal world looks like, and no matter what you think is worth fighting for. It's just a way to evaluate what values are in a movie, and what kind of ideas and worldviews it's promoting. Now, I have to say that I much prefer Lord of the Rings to Zootopia, and I much prefer the tranquil family life to career advancement and dance parties. That said, dance parties are pretty great, and I'm thinking of the movie Despicable Me, which ends with a marriage, adoption, and a dance party. Best of all worlds. Now, what's interesting about a dance party? Well, a dance party is something you go to have fun, and that's a great thing. But does it go further than that? I think for most people the answer is probably no. So what I think we would have to conclude with Zootopia is that the goals and worldview presented by that movie is that careers are the most important thing and fun is the most important thing. I don't know about that. Now, you can do a similar kind of analysis with other movies. Try thinking about this in context of Disney movies. Try thinking about this in context of your latest blockbuster that you saw in the theaters. What values is that movie promoting? What kind of worldview is it projecting? Think about it in context of the last movie you saw in theaters. What worldview is that movie promoting? What is it in that movie that was worth fighting for? And what does their happily ever after look like? What do you think is worth fighting for? And what does your happily ever after look like? Viewers, there's some good in this world, and it's worth fighting for. Why don't you tell us below in the comments what the last movie you watched was, and how it fits within the Jacob Fisher theory of movie criticism, what its happily ever after looks like, and what was worth fighting for. If you enjoyed the video, we'd love for you to subscribe and give us a like.